to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing. There is sewing today, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. How are you? It has been 2 weeks for you, 4 weeks for me, because I had pre-recorded the last week's episode, which was the sweater tour. Thank you guys so much for your response to the last episode. That was kind of overwhelming. It was great. I'm so glad that you all enjoyed it. 2 things I wanted to mention. One, I got a lot of questions about where my red crimson hooded cardigan was. That is a pattern by the Shiva guys. It has extensively cabled, has a hood. It's crazy. I simply forgot about it, not because I didn't make it or because I've gifted it. I still have that cardigan. It's just put away with the Christmas stuff. Because it was not in the same place as all of my other sweaters, it slipped my mind. So don't worry, it's still there. It's still a thing. It was a fantastic pattern. It was complicated, but I highly recommend it. It was an amazing pattern. So don't worry, the crimson hooded cardigan still lives. It was put away in a different spot. Okay? Okay. Number 2, I got a lot of questions from people wanting to know if I would ever design a sweater pattern. Sure, I would love to. Right now, I don't think that's in the cards, simply because if I am going to design a sweater, I'm going to want it to be as size inclusive as possible. So I'm thinking size range at least like 30-32 inches all the way up to 60-62 inches bust measurement. Now, there are plenty of resources online about grading and how to grade, but the issue for me is that requires a lot of math, and it's not because of the extended sizes that I would want to offer. It's because I probably would have to do a ridiculous amount of thinking just to grade for one size, and I just don't have the mental space to do that right now. I don't have a lot of mental space to do anything, but math is not my strong suit, and so I am fully committed to learning how to do that at some point, but right now I don't know that I will be able to do that. Maybe that will change later this year. I would love to design a sweater, but until then, we will stick with shawls and accessories and things like that. But thank you. It's good to know that there's some interest out there for some more crochet cardigans. If you are looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram, on Facebook. The Instagram is where I am most active. On Ravelry, my username is the Cozy Cottage. There are direct links to those right down below, as well as our Ravelry group where we run make-alongs, etc. Also, if you have anything to say regarding the podcast specifically and you want to guarantee that I will see your message and be able to respond to you, please shoot me an email. My email address is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Okay, I have a lot to talk about of many varied topics, because it essentially has been a month since I last recorded a normal podcast episode. If you could see the pile of stuff that's around me, I mean, you will see it just one thing at a time, you would probably be like, she'll never clean that up. But there is something very important that we have to do first, and it is to celebrate the end of the Spread the Warmth Mal. That is the Spread the Warmth make-along. It is a make-along that we had running in the Cozy Cottage Crochet Ravelry group, which again, the link is directly down below. From the beginning of March until April 30th, I closed the finished objects thread, and I have drawn winners for the prizes. So we are going to announce the winners right now. If you are a winner on Ravelry or on Instagram, I have already sent you a message by the time you are watching this video, so please respond. I am not one of those people who are just like, you have to watch the podcast and find out, just in case you are listening, and I mean, you could watch it and still miss your name. So I don't want that to happen. I have sent you a message. So far, my track record of getting prizes to people is pretty good, but I do need you to respond with your full name and your mailing address so that I can get these prizes in the mail to you. And we have a lot of them. Are you ready for this? I haven't shown these prizes before, but we are gonna have a prize parade right now. So there are 13 prizes total. I know that's a lot, but remember, for the Spread the Warmth make-along, our goal was to make 300 finished objects. We have far exceeded that. I don't have an exact count because I was counting and I lost count and I didn't want to start over from the beginning, but we have far exceeded 300 objects. Some of you have made so many things. Some of you have made beautiful things to donate or to gift to anyone. And remember, the only rule was that you just had to make something and give it away. You weren't able to receive any compensation for that. So there are 2 prizes from the chatter thread. 2 prizes from Instagram, and then because there were over 400 entries in the finished objects thread, there's 1 prize for every 50 entries, and I threw in an extra one for the last 16 or so entries that were after 400. So we have 9 finished object prizes, and I'm gonna go through them pretty quickly, otherwise we're gonna be here all day. I'm just gonna say your Ravelry name, and I'm going to say what you have won, and you'll have to bear with me because it's all over here. So there's gonna be a lot of doing this. Okay, so first prize from the finished objects thread goes to post number 87. Your Ravelry username is Sexy Mama. I don't know what your actual name is because it wasn't listed in your Ravelry profile, but you have won these 3 things. So this is a skein of Manos del Uruguay. It is a worsted weight, 100% merino wool, and it is a single ply. So this actually came out of my stash. This is Plymouth Yarn Julie, it is a skein of that, and then you have a skein of Sprightly yarns, and I just thought they went super well together. So you have won these 3 skeins of yarn. Put that over there. Congratulations. Prize number 2 from the finished objects thread is post number 404, Brown Eyed Girl GB, who is Trina from the United Kingdom. You have won 2 skeins of this beautiful mauve Audine wools. It is by Knit Crate, so it is a 50% alpaca, 30% merino, 20% nylon in the colorway blush. And you have also won a pair of like compression gloves. So this is what they look like. To extend the life of your knitting and crochet time. So I'm happy to send that to you. Congratulations, Trina. Prize number 3 from the finished objects thread is post number 267, who is Psycho Who Lakian. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. That is Kim from Texas. Kim, we have many Instagram conversations, so you had better get back to me with your address because I'm excited to send this to you. You have won 3 skeins of this Wayfarer fingering weight 100% merino wool. This is Pink Elephant. That is the colorway. I love these. It was really hard for me to give these away, but I think that you will love them too because they're so big. Prize number 4 is post number 67, whose Ravelry username is Carrie Penny. You are Carrie. You have won 2 skeins of Stylecraft Cozy. This yarn is seriously like a cloud. It's amazing. And also 1 skein of this Manos del Uruguay Silk Blend. Beautiful. Prize number 5 goes to post number 63. That is Knit Princess 83. Your name is Delia. You have won 3 skeins of the Karen Pantone yarn. This is the original Karen Pantone yarn. I don't know what the colorways are, but you can clearly see there's a gray, there's a cream, and then there's this one that has all the different colors, and I think that will be a lovely, lovely project. The next prize goes to post number 45. That is Eternity 21. Your name is Joyce, and I think you're from Florida, which is pretty cool. You have won cotton in varieties. So we have a Knit Picks Comfy Sport in the colorway Planetarium. It's I don't know if it's really showing up very well, but it's a beautiful blue. And then we have these 2 cottons. I thought this was appropriate because you live in Florida. So this is Organic Cotton Sport from Knitting Notions, and this is a Modern Cotton from Barocco. So you have won these 3 things. Congrats. Prize number, I don't know what prize number I'm on. I'm just gonna keep going. We're still in the finished objects. The next prize goes to post number 125, who is Jackie Ann Vorst. Your name is Jackie. You have won, oh God, I'm falling over. You have won this bag. This is a Joann's bag, which I picked up quite a while ago, and I love it. It has little birds on it, and it's beautiful, and I am pairing that with 2 mandala cakes. This is Mandala Baby, and the colorway Neverland, and they're, as far as matching mandala cakes go, these are pretty darn close. You normally don't get them that close matching, so I hope that you are able to make something amazing with those. The next prize goes to number 326, Textile Grad. Your name is Luann. You have won 4 skeins of this ice yarn in the colorway Magic Light. I'm not gonna take them out of the package so they don't get messed up. And a pattern by Malabrigo. There is actually there's 2 patterns. So there is a fingerless mitt pattern and a hat pattern that are super. The next prize goes to number 208, Linda Hoffland. You have won a button from Crochet Luna, who so kindly donated these buttons. There's a couple of buttons in prizes. This one says crafting for a cause, which I think is perfect. And you have won 6 balls of this ice yarn, and I don't know what the colorway is because I haven't taken it out, but it's actually got sequins. If you can see that, it's this gray blue. This is it looks kind of like it's a single ply as well, which is a little bit difficult to frog, but amazing to work with. So you have won these 6 little balls that go together. Oh gosh, I'm dropping everything. That is all of the finished object prizes. There are 2 prizes for the chatter thread. I feel like I'm missing a prize. Oh, it's right here. Like what? I'm missing a prize. So the chatter thread, the 2 winners are post number 33, which is yarn 5894. There was no name in your profile, so hopefully you are able to see this and get back to me. You have won 4 skeins, and I will take one of these out, of Yarn Bee Fair Isle yarn. This is a lovely, lovely yarn. It is 80% acrylic and 20% alpaca, and it is made specifically for Fair Isle, but you can of course do whatever you want with it. You have won that. The other winner from the chatter thread is post number 130, Ali Rules. Your name is Allison. You have won this pin that says Good Yarn Vibes from Crochet Luna, and you have won 3 skeins of this beautiful Angora Active Ice yarn. This is it's 75% acrylic and 25% Angora. So this yarn is amazing. So I am very excited to send that off to you. And then the last 2 prizes are from Instagram, if I can reach them. Prize number 1 goes to Chi Chi Sweets. You have won 4 skeins of the colorway Dancing Baby. This is ice yarns, as well as a Tunisian crochet hook for all of your Tunisian dreams. And the final prize goes to Lydia Ty on Instagram. You have won a Crochet Love button and another 4 skeins of this beautiful pink, white, and black ice yarn. So, 13 prizes. Hopefully you guys were able to see your names. I will put all of the names of the winners on the screen right now. Please respond to your Ravelry and Instagram messages so that I can get your prizes out in the mail to you. I am going to just push everything over to that way a little bit so we can get situated here. And I just want to say a huge, huge thank you to everyone who participated. There is nothing that makes me happier than being able to show someone love by gifting them a beautiful handmade item that we've put our love and our good thoughts and our good vibes into. And I know many of you donated to charities, many of you gave gifts to friends or family members who have been just needing a fiber hug. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I am so amazed by how much participation we got in this make along, and I am extra, extra grateful to all of the viewers who donated prizes so that we were able to have 13 prizes. I pulled a few things out of my stash, but most of that is from some viewers of this podcast, and you know who you are. When those prizes came in, I thanked you publicly, and I just appreciate you so much. You have made this possible, and I am so happy, happy, happy to be a conduit to send all of this beautiful yarn to people who definitely deserve it. I wish I could send every single person a prize, but of course, that would be impossible. But I think the biggest prize is being able to see the look on someone's face, or just know that there's a baby with a hat on its head, or just someone who can feel the warmth from what you have made. So thank you so much for participating in this make-along. I am going to take a small break from make-alongs just for a moment while I kind of get all of that mailed out. I can tell you there probably won't be any fancy packaging. I'm just gonna shove everything in envelopes, and there will be a bag of tea this time. I won't forget to do that like I did on the last one. There won't be any fancy cards or anything. My priority is to just get these in the mail to you, because otherwise who knows when that will happen, and I don't want you to be waiting for your prize. So I will be out of town next week, so if I can't get them in the mail on Tuesday, if you haven't responded to me by then I will get them in the mail the next week after that. We do have another make-along going on right now. It is kind of an informal make-along until December, the entire year of 2019. It is the year of the sock 2019, and I have some definite progress to show you in my finished objects and work in progress for that. Also, I draw one prize per quarter from that. So the prize for the first quarter just went out a few weeks ago. We will have another prize at the end of June, and you can also participate if you're participating in this make-along. You can knit, you can crochet, however you want to make your socks. But Claudia from Crochet Luna is running a sock theme Cowl 2019, where she has a different theme for every month making socks. I am obsessed. I am determined to make 12 pairs of socks that fit her theme. Okay, so other than that, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from crochet alongs for the moment, and we will pick back up in a little while. But I feel like I'm rambling, but I just appreciate you guys so much. It was the absolute best way to turn 30, was by making along with you guys in this huge community and just spreading the warmth to everyone. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. I think that's everything. I am going to jump right in. I have some finished objects. I have works in progress. I have sewing. I have some happy mail. There's so much going on right now. Let's start with finished objects, as you do. The first one is living in this beautiful floral bag that Rebecca, who is Tree Frog Yarn on Instagram, gifted to me quite a while ago. I have, of course, one of Claudia's pins. It says crochet is happiness, although there was knitting in this bag. Don't judge me, the color matched. And this lovely pin. Now, the yarn that I used for this is Red Heart with Love in the colorway Papaya. This is deep stash. Like, I've had it for at least 3 years, maybe longer, I don't know. The pattern is, I have this much yarn left, by the way. Cutting it close on the bind off. It is the Quattro Cable Cowl. This is a pattern by Brittany Little, who is Crochetland by Brittany. You can go to my project page on Ravelry. There is a picture of this, and it is directly linked to the pattern as well. I was testing this pattern for her. I did not finish by the deadline, but I did get my notes in time because it's a simple repeat, and you can kind of make it as long as you want. So I just wanted to keep going until I ran out of yarn, and this is the finished object. It is finished. The ends have been woven in. It has been seamed. It has been washed and blocked. And this is the cable pattern. Gorgeous. I love the color so much. I don't know if I did a great job seaming, but I tried, you guys. Mattress stitching cables is harder than I thought it was gonna be. I will say I had never done knitted cables before. This is a 4-stitch cable, so I found the instructions completely clear. I did not have any questions about how to do it. My tension is a little all over the place, although blocking covers a multitude of tension errors, right? So I love the finished product. I thought, honestly, that it would be bigger than this, but, so you get, how many yards in this? It's 100% acrylic. You get, I have no idea how many yards. 315 yards, which I guess, I don't know. Who knows? It's really the perfect length. I'll show you what it looks like on. At least for me, because I don't like things that are like choking me. So this is perfect. I kind of love that it's like kind of big, and you could even like honestly do this with it and it would keep your head so warm. So this is going to be a gift for someone. It is my way of spreading the warmth, but I love the color. I steam blocked it before I steamed it, and then I threw it in the washer and the dryer because it's acrylic and you can do that. And it just has a lovely, beautiful drape now. So it was a pleasure to make. I am so thrilled to say that it is finally finished, and it is fancy knitting cables. That is finished object number 1. Put that over there. Put this back on. Oh, I guess I should tell you what I'm wearing, huh? This is my Treasure Island shawl, which is this shape. It is the first pattern I ever released. It is still by far my most popular pattern. And I will say, just for me personally, it is the one thing out of everything that I have made that I reach for the most. It, for some reason, just matches everything I wear. Like, I like bright colors, but I love to wear this, and it's just light enough for Florida. I used one big fingering weight skein of fingering weight yarn. What am I saying? And yeah, I love wearing it. So it is the very first thing I ever released, and I did do a pattern update recently because it was the very first one I ever released, and I added my stitch and row counter and some more photos, etc. to the pattern. So I love it. Some of you have made the most amazing Treasure Island shawls, and it just blows me away, and I'm so happy. So that was finished object number 1. Finished object number 2, I am sure you are shocked to hear, is some socks. Now, you already saw these. In fact, I have washed them and worn them, but I wanted to show them off at the same time because these came in the same yarn pack. So the yarn is Hue Loco, and it was a Grocery Girls and Hue Loco Knit 2 Together sock club that a lovely viewer of this podcast sent to me. And so there was a 50-gram skein. Ooh, I'm all tangled. There was a 50-gram skein of this blue and a 50-gram skein of the pink. And then it came with a mini that was gray. So I paired the gray mini with the blue. And then I had a little purple mini from Acorn Willows that I paired with the pink. So this is the yarn. This is how much I have left. If I were to change out these minis for something else, I think I could potentially get another pair of socks out of this. Another pair of shorty socks. So I don't know. I haven't weighed it, but I think I could get 2 more pairs of socks. I'm not sure. These are the blue ones that you already saw. They're so beautiful. And these are the pink ones. These are my May entry for Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast sock theme cowl. And May's entry was all in bloom. So I actually finished June's before I finished May's. But this is what it looks like. I love the subtle contrast of the purple. I'm so happy with it. I've been dying to wear these. And the way that I knit my socks is I knit them toe up, following the Sockmatician's toe up sock recipe. Although I have subbed a Fish Lips Kiss heel for these, I knit them on Magic Loop 2.25 millimeter needles until I get to this part where my increases are done, and then I switch to 9-inch circulars and do that for the rest of the way. This is a 2x2 rib, and then I just do a bind off. So that's sock pair, and then I'll show it to you with the blue as well, because they came together, so they belong together. I have worn the blue ones, as I said, and I just love them. Like, this yarn was such a pleasure to work with and such a pleasure to wear. There you go. They're sock twins. I love them both. They're beautiful. With these 2 finished pairs, I have made it all the way through June on the sock theme cowl. So I have officially made 6 pairs for the socks theme cowl, plus 1 pair that I made, the Volda socks, the socks that shall not be named, that I showed off 2 episodes ago. So I am halfway through the sock theme cowl 2019. My goal for this year was to make 12 pairs of socks. I have made 7 pairs of socks, although I'm gonna have to make 13 pairs because, of course, the Volda socks I will not be counting for the sock theme cowl because I hated them so much. So I will be able to wear these now, and I will have my sock bag back, and those are the only finished objects that I have. Although I have some half objects, so let's continue talking about socks, and then we will get into the crochet. I have, living in this rainbow llamacorn bag from Slip Stitch Studios, and it has the Knit Picks knitting unicorn on it, and then a tiny sheep, because why not? And there is a pair of socks in here. This is my July socks, and I can't think no, June, July. These are my August socks. I can't remember what the prompt is for August, but I'll talk about it next time. My July socks, it was like being cool, or I should know, but I have it on my Ravelry project page. It is the name of these socks. So this yarn is also a Hue Loco and Grocery Girls Knit Two Together sock club. So it came with this yarn and this brown mini. I am obsessed with these socks. The only reason this pair of socks is not finished is because I got obsessed with another pair of socks. But you will see and be impressed, I am sure, with these socks. Now I haven't woven in any of the ends yet, but I have a completed sock with a heel flap and gusset. So let me put it on the sock blocker for you. Again, this is the Sockmatician's Toe Up Sock recipe. That's what I use for all of my socks. I just happened to do a heel flap and gusset on these because I wanted to make a taller sock. Because this yarn, I just didn't want to stop working with it. It's just so perfect. I love it. So you can see it almost stripes. It's like tiger stripes. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. This yarn is a little bit different, even though it's Hue Loco. It's a different base than this pink and blue yarn, but it's just as much of a pleasure to work with. It doesn't split. I legitimately have loved every single stitch. I did not want to put these down. I actually took this, all of my in-laws were visiting before Easter, and we went to the aquarium in Tampa, and it was raining that day, and it was Good Friday, so there was approximately 1 trillion people inside the aquarium, and there was a lot of waiting, and there was a lot of people and crowd and like noise, and I just took this and knit on the leg of this sock, and was completely fine. I was patient. I didn't mind waiting. I didn't have any anxiety. It was the best. So I did this heel flap and gusset. I think that my math is wrong. I need to go back and, because it's been a while since I've done a heel flap and gusset. My Sockmatician's Toe Up Sock recipe pattern, you can even see it has like a hole. It just has been abused and carried around for over a year in my sock bag. And I need to go back and do my math, because when I originally did the math, I did it for a 68 stitch sock, and then I loosened up my gauge a little bit. So now I make all of my socks with 64 stitches. And I thought that I had the calculations correct, but on the bottom of this heel, I somehow ended up with 2 extra stitches on the left side, which I then fudged because I'm not going back. I'm not ripping it out for 2 stitches. And then it was fine, but like my heel is like 2 stitches, 1 stitch. It's like 1 stitch over from where it should be. It's fine. It fits perfectly. And I was like, oh, I just must have not been paying attention. But then I did this one, so I just got past the heel flap, and I'm starting to go around and around and around again. And the same thing happened on this one. It was 2 stitches on one side bigger than the other, and so I decreased and fudged it. And then at the end of my heel flap, I ended up having 2 stitches less than I should. So I'm not really sure what happened there. But again, I don't care. I'm not fixed. I think that the heel flap, it's possible that they're about 1 row off from each other, but I don't think you can tell. And also it's going on your feet, so who cares? And then instead of my normal 2x2 rib, I did a 3x1 rib, and I did it for 20 rows. Normally I do 12 rows of ribbing. 20 rows? 15 rows? Now I don't know. Let's compare. Okay, I did it for 15 rows. So I normally do 12 rows of ribbing. I did it for 15 rows on this. And yeah, I am really, really happy with this. This sock would be done by now, except that I got obsessed with another pair of socks by accident. By accident, you guys. So this yarn was a gift from a viewer of this podcast named Amanda, who donated so many of the prizes that you saw earlier. And I just want to say, Amanda, this yarn is amazing. I don't know if I would have ever or when gotten the chance to work with Hue Loco yarns, and I'm kind of obsessed with them. Like, this will be the 3rd skein that I've been able to use, and it's just fabulous. It's fabulous yarn. I can't recommend it more. It was just a wonderful experience to make, and my August socks will be done, I'm sure, by the next time I podcast. The other pair of socks that I've been working on is living in my Christmas Flamingos in Florida project bag, which was a gift from Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craft Cast. And so I started, I'm all tangled up. Hold please. This yarn came all the way from the United Kingdom to me. It was a gift from a lovely viewer of this podcast named Julie, and I wanted to start it for a little while now. No, what happened? Here it is. It is West Yorkshire Spinners signature yarn. It is 75% wool, 25% nylon, and it actually has 35% blueface Leicester in it, which makes it kind of amazing for socks. It will be really, really hard wearing. I think this is the colorway Atlantis. Is that what you said in your note, Julie? I can't remember. But I wound it up into this beautiful cake. I had no idea that it was going to stripe the way that it is. So I sat down. This is just some gray Lang wool yarn that I had in my stash, so I'm using this for the toes, heels, and cuffs. I have one finished sock. I finished it last night. So I had the time and I had a little bit of brain power, so instead of just going around and around, I was like, oh, let me get the toe done so that I can start a couple of rows of this yarn and then I'll just have a sock to knit on whenever I sit down. Mistake, you guys. Because the minute I started using the yarn, I became obsessed and I couldn't stop knitting it. Because look at how it stripes. It's amazing. So we have our gray toe, and then it's like, it's a gradient of blue and green stripes. Now I am quite sure that this is what that's supposed to look like, the stripe, and mine are a little all over the place. You can see my tension clearly changes all the time. I don't care. This is amazing. I have loved working with this yarn, this West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. I've never used it before, and I will highly recommend it as well. This is what I wanted my experience with Barocco socks to be like, because this is kind of a hard wearing, a little bit scratchy. It's definitely not like the Hue Loco yarn, but it doesn't split. It literally just like flew off my needles. And then I did some 3x1 rib for the cuff as well. Haven't woven in my ends or anything like that, but yeah, I loved this yarn. This is what I wanted my Barocco socks experience to be like. And the Barocco socks experience was terrible, and this has been wonderful, wonderful. So thank you so much, Julie. I am 100% positive I can get 2 pairs of socks out of this skein of yarn, although I haven't started the second one yet. But yeah, I'm obsessed. Look at these stripes. I can't stop. I can't stop. So these are, oh, I think the prompt for July is chilling out. Chilling out? So yeah, these are perfect for that. So perfect. So yeah, that's all the sock ventures that I have to show you. Let's talk about some crochet, shall we? Let me put all of this stuff over here because I have a small pile of project bags to still talk about with you. Okay, first off, what I have been crocheting on is 1 test and 3 designs. So I'm gonna do the test first because I am loving it, first of all. It is living in a giant bag, way too big for my project. It says I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good on it. It's just a tote bag that I got at Primark in London when we were there last year. I have, of course, my Crochet Clan button, which is from Claudia. Obviously, all my buttons are from her. And then some random London pins that I also got at Primark for £3. So this pattern is the Gemini Shawl by Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craftcast, my favorite person. And I'm gonna go ahead and say probably my favorite podcaster of all time. I think, Kalisha, you're my favorite person in the yarn community. Is that weird? I am using, you're gonna have to bear with me because everything is attached. And I have put my yarn in sandwich baggies so that it does not get tangled because the project bag I'm using is much too large. This is a yarn from my stash. It is, I don't know what. I'm gonna have to dig this little tag out. This is Peekaboo Yarns in the colorway Brighter Blue Music. I got it as part of the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted campaign. These are all fingering weight yarns last year, so this one. And then this is Sheep Happens yarn. This beautiful blue. I believe this is deep something. Merino sock. Oh no, that's not even close. This colorway is called Celestial. Sheep Happens, Merino sock. It's 100% superwash. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And I bought this and this from her last year. This teal one, the colorway is, this one is deep end. I knew there was deep somewhere. This is deep end. This is celestial. And I am so thrilled to be able to use them. Now, the way that Claudia's shawl has worked is it's worked in 2 panels and then you have a join up the middle. So I have fully completed 1 panel. I have not woven in my ends. I haven't blocked it or anything yet. So you start here and then you do all of this with this lovely texture pattern, and then you start decreasing. Now I can tell you that my row gauge definitely doesn't match hers, although this is gonna block out pretty well, because this little decrease panel is pretty short compared to what hers was, but it'll still be plenty long enough because it goes from the middle of my neck all the way out to my arm. So this is panel number 1, and I am halfway through the second section of panel number 2. So this is panel number 2, and you can see that I am changing the colors a little bit. Now, the colors are different on the sides, but I'm not doing them the way that she has in her pattern because symmetry is, I don't know, excessively important to me. I don't know. So I didn't think that I would have enough of the blue to carry the blue all the way through, but maybe that's not true. I don't know. But so what I'm doing is mirroring it. So in her pattern, you do this will be color number 1. You would have color number 1 go all the way through and then switch it. But I actually wanted this blue to go all the way through on this one. So on the second panel, it's the teal that's going all the way through. And then in her pattern also, these would be flip-flopped. So you'd have light blue and teal on one, and then you'd have dark blue and light blue on this one flipped. I don't know if that made any sense. I'm dropping all of my yarn balls. But it's such a beautiful, beautiful pattern. I am on track. She gave me a long time to complete the test. I have, I think, another week and a half to do it. So what I am planning on doing is finishing the second section, and then if I think that there's any chance that I won't finish it in time, what I will do is skip the third section and do the braid join up the middle, and then go back so that I can send her my notes. But I should be able to finish it because she gave me so long. So yeah, I'm loving it. Loving it. It's just, it's my color. It's all of my colors. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's beautiful, and I cannot wait to wear it. Claudia, this is an amazing design. I love every second of working on it. And yeah, that is my test. I put my pattern back in so I won't get lost. And there it is. Okay, let's talk pattern design, shall we? This one you've already seen, and I have exciting progress to show you. I'm still only like halfway done with it, but I'm finally halfway done with it. This is the Tunisian Zen Cowl, which is living in my sheepy bag that I made. And I am using a 4.5 millimeter Denise Tunisian crochet hook, which is an absolute dream to work with. I highly, highly recommend. There is this yarn, which is Dreaming. It is Life in the Long Grass Studio yarn that I picked up when we were in the UK last year. And the second colorway is Rosebud, and it's also Life in the Long Grass Studio. So these two together are literally everything. But as you can see, this one is attached to my project, which means I am finally into the pink section. Are you guys excited? I am. Here we go. All of this is done. And look, I'm not very far into the pink section, but this is my stitch marker right here from where I was last time. So I have done all of that. That is a significant amount. I find that I don't pick this up and put it down. Like I don't pick it up and do a row and put it down and pick it up and then do a row and put it down. What I use this is for mindfulness, which is exactly why I have designed the pattern this way. Because as you can see, there's diamond shapes. There's a little diamond and a big diamond. And it just alternates. So I'm on the big diamond in the first pink section, and you have to count. If you don't count, your diamond will come out incorrectly. And I know that a lot of people don't like patterns that require you to engage your brain like that, but this is really simple. The only thing you have to do is count and do 2 Tunisian stitches, that's it. So it's pretty simple, and the only thing you have to do is count, because this is designed specifically to take your mind off of what you're thinking about. So I usually, I worked on this for an hour or 2 hours, something like that. So I did this whole section at one time, and it gave me what I needed, especially if you struggle with anxiety like I do, or depression, or intrusive thoughts, or anything like that. This kind of a project will be perfect for you. I am really hoping to get this done in May, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't know if that'll be possible. I'm trying not to overwhelm myself at the moment and just work on what I want to work on, but I think it would be a wonderful project to have done in May, and then be able to get it out to testers and release it sometime in June. I know many of you are kind of very excited about this pattern, and I am very excited about it as well. I want to get it finished and the pattern written up and everything out to you, but at the same time, I want to be honest and authentic and just tell you that I think it would be wrong of me to rush through this, because the point of this is mental health. So I don't want to put pressure. So I don't know, I just love the diamonds. I am so thrilled that I'm on the pink now, and I will be probably taking this with me next week when I go out of town. And maybe I'll have, provided I have the Gemini shawl done, then I will focus on that as well. So that is design number 1. I'm just so thrilled with it. Put my hook back in there. Sheepies. Water break. Okay, next 2 things that are in progress. These are 2 new crochet designs. They are barely started. So it was local yarn store day last Saturday. I went to my local yarn store, which is Stash, a place for yarn, in St. Petersburg, Florida. They also have a location in Tampa. It's a local yarn store empire. So I bought 4 skeins of yarn. Now, I have not purchased any yarn pretty much since January at all, except for I can't reach it, but my Winterhold shawl, which was made out of Red Heart with Love Chunky. I purchased that yarn for that design specifically, but that was paid for using money that you guys have sent me because you have bought my patterns. So I have not, generally I would say my yarn budget for a month on any given month would be maybe $30. I don't know. So, but I haven't spent any because of course we had some pretty big expenses with my medical bills at the beginning of the year. So I have been kind of saving myself. And if you have bought my Winterhold shawl pattern, you directly paid for the yarn for these 2 designs. So, and I just want to say, I don't have the exact numbers. I meant to do this, but I don't have the exact numbers laid out. But if you have purchased one of my crochet patterns, all of that money has gone back into this channel, except for I bought a pair of yoga pants once, and I also used some money at the end of last year to buy my husband a really amazing Christmas present. Now, I do not feel necessarily the need to tell you what I do with my money, but I like to be transparent, and I think that it's beautiful when you know where your money is going and what you're helping. So, for example, in 2018, I bought lights for the podcast. It pays for shipping. So in the first couple of months of this year, if you purchased the Frost shawl or the Cotton Candy slouch pattern, I paid, I can't remember how much money total that brought in, but I can tell you that I paid about $100 in tech editing fees for 3 patterns. So that was completely covered. I have paid for the gray yarn for the Winterhold shawl pattern, which I think was about $35. I have paid for almost $150 in shipping expenses because shipping a lot of prizes is very expensive. That's not including any of this stuff. So your support of my patterns enables me to mail stuff to other people. And then I have been able to completely pay for 100% Stitchcation, which will be next week. And I'll talk about that in a minute. It will be the 3rd year that I have gone. So I like to be transparent. I know there is a huge discussion in the Instagram community going on right now about the cost of knitting and crochet patterns compared to the cost of sewing patterns, and should people raise their prices, and what is labor really worth, and should people pay not tech editors, of course tech editors should be paid, should people pay testers, and I want to talk about that for a minute. So maybe get your favorite beverage. I know that I'm talking about this in the middle of works in progress, but I think it's really important. So I intentionally have priced my patterns very low, but not free. Now, I think that for people to price their patterns, that is completely 100% up to them. Whatever you want to price your patterns at, whatever point you want to price them at, is your prerogative. If you are a crochet or knitwear designer, if you want to make them $12, $15 a pattern, if you want to make them $2 a pattern, that is completely up to you. I will say I am at a point in my life where I don't rely on the income from these patterns to sustain me. So I don't use them to pay bills. I funnel everything directly back into this channel and into my crafting. With the exception of the first 10% of anything that I make on crochet patterns I donate to my local church. So the other 90% of that gets funneled back into this channel. So there's been a lot of talk about comparing the price of knitwear patterns to the price of sewing patterns. And a sewing pattern can be $15, maybe more, $18, etc. I will say I have only paid for 2 sewing patterns that were that expensive. They were the Tilly and the Buttons patterns, which you will see one of them in my sewing segment today. It was completely worth it, but I had to save up the money for it. I do not collect sewing patterns. I have a very, very tiny collection. I have a book, 2 Tilly and the Buttons patterns, and then a couple of like simplicity patterns, which are priced at $15 to $18 each one. However, I got them on sale at Joann's for 99 cents each. That is when I bought them. So I think that there's a difference between sewing patterns and knitwear or crochet patterns, because it feels like we as yarn makers tend to collect patterns more. Now, maybe this is wrong. Maybe I have a completely misguided idea of sewists in general, but the people that I know that sew, they don't tend to just collect sewing patterns. I know one person like that, but most of the people that I know that sew buy quilt patterns and then they make them, or they have specific projects in mind for them. Whereas in our community, I feel like sometimes we buy patterns just to support people, we buy patterns to collect them, we buy patterns to make them someday. So based on the amount of time that goes into a crochet pattern, let's just say my Treasure Island shawl, the amount of time and money that it takes just to make one pattern, it probably should be priced more, but I don't want to price it more. Because I completely understand what it's like to not have enough money to buy a pattern. There was a long period in my life where I only made free crochet patterns. And free is, I say loosely, because somebody is paying. So whether that is the advertisement on the blog that is paying for this free pattern to be hosted, whether that is a person who personally is paying for the pattern because they are not charging, so there is a payment system somewhere. If you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. So that is why my cotton candy slouch pattern, it's my gift to you guys. I want you to make it. I want you to know that I appreciate you so much, but I still price it at $1 because it's simply not free to make a crochet pattern. The yarn costs money. So just for example, the cotton candy slouch pattern, the yarn cost $20. I would say it probably took me 5 hours to work up the first sample of the pattern. I then made 2 more samples. I wrote up the pattern. Then I tech edited the pattern, which was about $35 to do that. So there is a cost. So I would say, I can't remember how many patterns that one has sold yet. But it basically, you then have to subtract PayPal fees and Ravelry fees. So I would say I probably get about 65 cents on the dollar for every cotton candy slouch pattern deposited into my PayPal account, which is not a ton of money, but I'm not trying to make money on that pattern. I'm just trying to break even, which I have done. It's just taken months to get there. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I think that we need to, at least for me personally, I price things so that it is accessible to people, but still is something that I am comfortable with on the back end. Because if I'm designing patterns, then I'm saying no to making other patterns. I'm saying no to doing all kinds of things, maybe with my family, it doesn't matter. So I always, like, my patterns are priced between $1 and $5. I don't know if I were ever to design a sweater pattern, it would probably be in the same price range, $5, maybe $5.50, because I just don't want people, I don't want to price myself out of the budget and make patterns inaccessible to people. But I do think they're worth money, and I'm happy to pay money for a good pattern. I cannot tell you how many patterns I have used that were free, that were full of errors, or patterns that were not free that were full of errors because nobody got them tested or tech edited. There has been some discussion about whether pattern testers should be paid for their labor. I have a perspective on this. If you differ with that perspective, it is completely fine. I will say anytime that I have tested a pattern for someone, and I have tested quite a few patterns in my life, it is because I believed in that person, and it's because I wanted to support them. It's because I wanted early access to the pattern, and I felt like I had something valuable to give them back. I would be making anyways, and I had the resources in yarn and time to help that person with their pattern. I don't have so much resources and time now to help people with their patterns, which is why you very rarely see me testing, but it was an invaluable learning experience to be able to read a pattern and figure out what the person was trying to say and make that experience better for someone else. I looked at it as my way of giving back to the yarn community, specifically to that person and also to everybody who would be making that pattern, to give thorough notes and to say, hey, this may be an issue, say, hey, I love this pattern. Tech editing is crucial, in my opinion. If you are releasing a paid for pattern, you should, again, my opinion, but you should be paying for tech editing, because you can read something a million times. That doesn't mean you're gonna catch all the errors. And there's nothing more frustrating than reading a pattern and then your stitch count doesn't add up. Or your row count doesn't add up, or something's wrong with the pattern and nobody caught it. Now, of course, with testing and tech editing, there could be something that slips through the cracks, but the chance of it is much less. So all of my patterns are tech edited and tested. And I appreciate the people who have tested my patterns more than I can put into words, because I would love to be able to pay you, but it's simply not possible at this time in my life. But the way I test patterns is I just looked at it as giving back to the community and being able to do something for the community at large and that person and their pattern that I believed in. And I hope that that's how you feel about if you are a person who has tested for me as well. And then my way of returning that investment is to say, hey, after the pattern is tested, it will be tech edited before it is released to the public. And I am happy to say, so far, in all of the patterns that I have released, there was only one tiny error found, and it was a stitch count error. It wasn't a pattern error, and it was on one row in one pattern. So that makes me really happy, because I'm putting my name on something. Like, I want it to be a good quality product. And I don't think that having a low price point means that you can't have a good quality product. And at some point I will do a video on how to write a quality pattern based on my experience. Of course, I've only written, I don't know, 9, 10 of them, but I think it's an invaluable resource, and it's something we don't talk about enough, is like, what are people looking for in a pattern? What am I looking for when I go to a pattern? It drives me insane when there's no gauge information. Even if I don't meet gauge, like, I want to know what you got. It drives me insane when there's no stitch counts. So there's all kinds of things that you should consider when you're designing and writing a pattern. And of course you're going to improve. My first pattern, this pattern, of course I updated it because I'm much more experienced now. I have a format, my patterns, just the way that they work, etc. So all of that to say, if you're still here, thanks for sticking through that kind of rambly rant. I will not be raising the prices of my patterns at all. They are priced that way simply because that's what I want to price them at. I want to make them accessible to as many people as possible. There is a very interesting thing being done by Frenchie of Aroha Knits. She is doing kind of a pay what you can model that she is testing out, which has like a low price point, a medium price point, a higher price point. And then it's based on the resources the buyer has. So if the buyer has a lot of resources and wants to support that person extra, they can choose a higher price point for the pattern. So I'm interested to see how that turns out. But I will say definitely the base price for my designs will remain the same. And of course I always, as a extra special thanks to you guys, we'll give you a coupon for $1 off at the beginning of almost every single pattern release. So hopefully that made sense and I didn't go off on too many rabbit trails. If you have thoughts about this, I would love to know your thoughts. And let's talk about these 2 designs that I am working on now. So I went to local yarn store day and I purchased 4 skeins of yarn. all for designs, and I am thrilled to say that the money for these 4 skeins of yarn came from people who have purchased my Winterhold shawl pattern. So if you have purchased my Winterhold shawl pattern, you have directly contributed to me being able to make more designs. The first one is being made out of Fat Bunny yarn. In her petal base, it is 100% silk yarn. It is a lace weight single ply silk yarn, and the colorway is Dahlia, and I am in love. It's 50-gram skein, so I got 2 of them. She only let me pay for 1 of them. Maria. As you know, I've used her yarn previously. That is her yarn I've used in the cotton candy slouch pattern. I love working with her yarn. I love her colors, and also she's just a beautiful person, and I love you, Maria. So I will leave a link directly to her yarn down below. She's not telling me to do this, or she's not paying me to do this. I just really think you should support her because her yarn is fabulous. So this is the colorway Dahlia. It's 100% lace weight silk single ply, and this is the second skein. As you can see, it's a little misshapen because it's been frogged, and it's going to be frogged again. Only a little bit though. So this is how much I have. It's not much, but this is going to be called the Vanya Cowl, V-A-N-Y-A. It is named after Vanya Hargreaves, who is a character in the Umbrella Academy, which is not suitable for children, but it is a show based on a comic book that Netflix released earlier this year, the Umbrella Academy. And so Vanya she has a lot of issues. So basically the theme of the Umbrella Academy is a bunch of kids were born on the same day, and what's crazy about that is their moms weren't pregnant at the beginning of that day. And then this one guy got 7 of them, and they all have different superpowers. But Vanya was told her whole life that she was completely ordinary, and she was basically sedated. And you find out, spoiler alert, she's actually the most powerful one of them all, but she has a lot of mental health issues, and she plays the violin. So she's actually the most powerful one, but she's extremely delicate and fragile, and is easily influenced, and they get into all kinds of shenanigans because of her. So when I saw this yarn, I just knew it had to be called that, because silk is one of the strongest threads out there, but it's also a lace weight single ply, and it's extremely delicate. So I just thought that went perfectly with her character to have a lace weight, it's very strong, but it's also extremely delicate in the meantime. So this is what I have so far. This row right here is going to be frogged. I've got to do something else, but it's going to be lace, a lace design, and the way that I am designing it is to be long enough so it'll be a cowl, not one that you can necessarily wrap twice, although you can easily. I'll include instructions on how to make it wider if you want, but one that can sit on your shoulders. So that's how I'm hoping to wear it, and then kind of have a drapey part right here. I am torn a little bit with the stitch pattern as to whether I want to make different lace sections or have one repeat itself. I don't know yet, but I have to frog this a little bit. Single ply yarn is difficult to frog, but you can do it if you have patience. That's what I will be doing. So that is the Vanya Cowl. It is living in a dodgy bag. P.S. The Dodgy Bag Mal, hosted by Allie of Little Drops of Wonderful and Claudia of Crochet Luna, started on May 1st. I do need to make some bags, but that's why my Dodgy Bag pin is on here. And my Little Drop of Wonderful. This is all from Allie. Well, this is from Claudia, but they both hosted the bag. Make along. So the other design that I have is living in the best bag of all time. It says Alpaca my bag, and it has an alpaca butt. I guess I'm in a single ply place right now, because this is single ply Malabrigo. Colorway is Lynx. It is 100% superwash merino, 100 grams, 420 yards. Look at this. From far away, it looks like orange and black, but if you get closer, it's actually orange and purple speckle. I got 2 of them. So those I purchased, Fat Bunny Yarn had a trunk show at my local yarn store, so I purchased that from her. And then I purchased this from the actual yarn store stash. So I got 2 of these skeins, and it is a little bitty baby so far. This is also going to be a cowl. It's going to be a triangle cowl. So it's gonna come down like this and then wrap around your neck so it will never fall off. And this is what it looks like. I am pretty sure this is going to be called the Nihilist Cowl, after Darth Nihilus from Star Wars, but we'll see. It's tentative at the moment. So this is where we go. This is going to be actually really simple to do, I promise. It's going to use only a couple of stitches for the entire time. And hopefully I'll have some progress to show you on that one next time. So again, if you have purchased my Winterhold shawl, thank you so much. You have enabled me to buy the yarn to make 2 new designs. And I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself so that I can get those out in a reasonable amount of time, but also not overwhelm myself. Let's talk sewing, shall we? Because I have some sewing to show you. First of all, I have a finished object, and it is the Cocoa dress by Tilly and the Buttons. This is a dress that I purchased the pattern in PDF form from Tilly and the Buttons, and then you have to tape everything together and cut it out. And it's finished. This is what my Easter dress was. And as you can see, the fabric is tiny Harry Potters. Tiny Hermiones and tiny Rons. So this is the dress. So it's basically you make it in 4 pieces. There's a front, a back, and then the arms. The arms are actually set in sleeves. It's not raglan. So setting in sleeves in setting in sleeves in my crochet cardigans has definitely helped me with that. So it's supposed to have a 3/4 length sleeve. You can tell that this is a 3/4 length sleeve on me, but the pattern measurements for a 3/4 length sleeve was like down to here. It was like just an awkward length because apparently I have really short arms. So I had to take off a couple of inches before I did the hem. I don't even know if you can see that, but you can kind of see it a little bit because my thread matches so perfectly, you guys. So this was really, really easy construction. And the only change I made is that I added pockets, because pockets, obviously. I added them they're a little too low. They need to be like this much higher up on my hip to be comfortable, but that's fine. So I am loving it. This is the front. I will say I'm going to make another one. I have some Star Wars fabric. I'm gonna make another one. And the modifications that I will make is I think I'm gonna make the Star Wars one short sleeved. So maybe just like to right here, like little kind of cap sleeves. And then I'm going to add about 2 to 3 inches in length. I think I would just like it to be a tiny bit longer for me to be most comfortable wearing it. And the way that I wore this is I just put it on and then I put a belt right under my bust area to kind of gather it in. And I love it. I got this done in one day, and the fabric had been cut out for a long time. And then it was just waiting for me. And I got it done in about, I don't know, 3-4 hours, maybe 3 hours. I sewed the entire dress together. So I'm gonna be making another one, and I'm very, very excited. Say goodbye to the tiny Harry Potters. I highly recommend Tilly and the Buttons patterns. They are amazing. They are so well written. The pattern has optional pockets, which I did not do. It has pockets on the front, not on the sides. So the side pockets were my modification. And then it has another modification where you can make like a funnel neck, which I don't think I'm gonna do that on the second one either. I also, related to sewing, have made something. So pattern weights are very expensive. And when you are cutting out knit fabric, I don't really want to use 100 million pins. It's just a pain. And so I went to Home Depot, and they're in this. I bought the biggest washers I could possibly find and some super glue. And I super glued 2 washers together. And now I have a bunch of pattern weights. These are actually pretty heavy. And you can, I want to say 50 washers for like, I don't know, maybe $16, $17. So I have 25 of these pattern weights. So they are gonna make cutting out patterns much easier. They're stored in this little pouch. They're extremely heavy altogether, but I'm really, really, really happy with them. So for like under 20 bucks with all of the super glue and everything, I have a whole thing of pattern weights, and which will make cutting out patterns much easier. I also got for my birthday, because I'm 30 now. It's fine, I'm coping. For my very best friend in the world, named Caitlin. Hi, Caitlin. She got me a sewing pattern book called The Little Black Dress, and this has how many patterns? 20 garment patterns inside. So it has all of the patterns are in this envelope, and then it has like famous little black dresses based on famous people. There is one, this one is called it's inspired by Kate Moss. Love that. I would make it longer, but I really, really love the lace arms. And then there's another one, there's a bunch of stuff in here that I would like to make, but there's one dress in particular that I was like, yep. This one is Angelica Houston, this dress. That is 100% my style. I would love to wear that. It's loose up top, tighter on the bottom, a little bit longer sleeves. Oh, it's beautiful. So I don't know, I gotta find some fabric, but so exciting. And of course, I don't wanna cut the pattern pieces because these patterns are all like this. Like once you cut them, like what if you cut out the wrong size? You have to trace them. So I'm a little tired of putting tracing paper together, taping it, and then cutting it out like that. So what I did is I found on Amazon a roll of, you know, the paper that you have on like medical tables in a doctor's office, and they have like a long roll of it, and then once you get up they go and they rip yours off and do it again. I ordered a roll of that for $10 on Amazon. It's 225 feet, and that tracing paper is about this wide, so pretty much as wide as a pattern piece will need to be, and I will not have to tape anything together. So that is a hint. If you are new to sewing, or if you've been sewing for a while and are still taping things together, tracing paper. So if you're looking for this book, it's called Famous Frocks, Little Black Dress by Dolan Blish O'Shea. So can you believe all that sewing? Next week is Stitchcation. We're leaving on Wednesday. We're going to Jacksonville Beach for 3 days of nonstop sewing adventures. I will actually be sewing this year. I'm taking my sewing machine. I'm taking 2 dress projects. So I'm going to make the Cocoa dress again with short sleeves and a little bit longer in Star Wars fabric. And then I have a red velvet that I'm going to try to make a Stevie dress out of, also by Tilly and the Buttons. That is specifically why I wanted the pattern weights more than anything, because velvet goes all over the place. It is very like, so I'm hoping to get those 2 dresses done while I am gone, as well as some crochet, but we'll see, I'm not trying to put pressure on myself. I do have some happy yarn mail to show you. So it was my birthday, and I got the thing that I wanted more than anything, which I had requested from my husband like so many times, and he listened and he got me the Fiber Artist Supply ball winder. This is a wooden ball winder. It goes like this. It's amazing, truly amazing. I adore using it. It's just perfect in every way. I love it. I wound up yarn for no reason, just to use it. It winds the most beautiful cakes. This is a kind of pricey item, I am not going to lie, but it was my 30th birthday. We generally don't spend like tons and tons of money on each other. Like I would say maybe $100 for Christmas or birthdays or something like that. This was slightly more than $100, but it's what I wanted, and I love it. It winds the most beautiful cakes, and I'm just so thrilled to have this beautiful, beautiful tool. It comes with a clamp. You don't have to use it with a clamp if you like put it on the floor, but if you're winding a giant skein, you might want to use a clamp. So it's so easy, and it doesn't make a sound, and it doesn't wind horrible cakes like my Knit Picks ball winder. My Knit Picks winder used to be fine, but you know, it was like 25 bucks and it's plastic, so eventually it will start winding ridiculous cakes and making weird sounds. And then I got this most ridiculous llama. with a horn. The reason it is ridiculous is because when you squeeze it, it like poops. I don't know. It's so silly. I love it. It's pink. It's the best. I bought myself a tiny little present that I have been saving my pennies for months now. It is from Still Bitter Design. This is her card. I will say that everything on their site is not necessarily appropriate for children. There's some language that she embroiders, so I've had my eye on this for a long time. It says nope, and I love it so much. I was so thrilled that it was still there when I went to finally go buy it. There was one left and I got it, and I kind of want to hang this on my office door. Nope. It's just beautiful in every way. So Still Bitter Design, I follow her on Instagram, and again, they're not necessarily appropriate for children, but it is fabulous. Fabulous. I'm really, really happy with that. I got some more happy mail. I did a swap with a lovely viewer of this podcast named Brigitte, who lives in Slovenia. So I had sent her a package, and then she sent me back a package. So she sent me so much tea. So excited. As soon as I'm done recording, I'm going to drink this one. It's called Love. It's pomegranate flavored. Yes. She also sent some candy, which I've been dying to get into. Some beautiful stitch markers that she made herself, as well as these super, super cute little buttons. I gotta find something to put them on. And she sent me some sock yarn. So this is called Lana, they're both Lana Grossa, Confetti and Rocky. They're self-striping, they're self-patterning sock yarns. So they're 50-gram balls, and with contrast toes, heels, and cuffs, I can definitely get a pair of socks out of each of them. So I'm very excited about that. Year of the sock, you guys, year of the sock. So very exciting. And then she's also sent this yarn, which I cannot pronounce because this is yarn you can only get in Slovenia. So it's 100 grams, it's 75% wool, and then it says 25% PA, which I'm assuming is nylon. I don't know, it's just amazing. It looks gray from far away, but it's actually like a very light brown. So I'm very excited to use this as like contrast yarn. It's gonna be amazing. So thank you so much, Brigitte. That was lovely. I cannot wait to dig into that sock yarn and the candy. I also got a package. Ooh. Sorry for all the rustling. I'm not going to be able to help that. From a lovely yarn dyer in the United Kingdom. The company is called Attic Spin Dye, and is Andy and Angela. And they contacted me, and basically we had a fantastic email conversation back and forth, because what happened was Angela has some health issues, and they are very, very much into crochet and knitting and yarn for mental health, as well as mental health when you have a physical illness. So they have they are very big advocates for Raynaud's disease and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly. I will dedicate a little bit of time in a later episode to talking about that at more length. I need to do a little bit more research myself. But this is a cause that they are really passionate about. And you know, if you have been watching me for any length of time, that mental health and yarn are like this to me. Like, they go together. It is one of the three things that I'm passionate about is crochet / yarn / knitting / fiber art, mental health, and Skyrim. So the fact that their business is structured in such a way to continually be putting mental health issues forward, to continually be putting EDS and Raynaud's forward towards people, I think that that's fabulous, and I was so thrilled to be able to support them. And I in no way expected what they sent me in the mail. So first of all, there was some chocolate. Brigitte also sent me some chocolate, which is long gone. It was delicious. She sent 2 bags of these fizzy fish, which one of them has already been eaten. We went to the movies and it disappeared very quickly. Some delicious tea. A sheepy. It got slightly melted, but who cares? It's chocolate. This coaster that says Hooked on Crochet. So cute. And then some amazing tea, which I've been trying, because it's been a while. I've been trying not to dig into everything in this box. So are you prepared to have your mind blown by this beautiful yarn? First of all, there's this. Look at that color. This is 75/25 Merino Nylon. This is the colorway, Quoth the Raven. Oh gosh, it's so pretty. This is a full, oops, I just dropped everything. It's got some beautiful tea attached to it, but this is a full skein. This will be definitely for a future giveaway on this podcast. It comes with some beautiful stitch markers and a lavender sachet, which is delightful. So this is one. I'm saving that for something special in the future. Also, my favorite colorway of theirs, and I loved it so much I actually shared it on my Instagram. This is called Vibrant Iris. Look at that. The color on their Instagram was beautiful, and I shared it, but in person, like, I don't even know. Can you tell how amazing these colors are? This is incredible. And of course, they have their own little lavender sachet and things as well. So they actually sent, I was not expecting everything that you sent me, Andy and Angela, okay? Okay. So they sent me these two for me, which completely blows me away. This one definitely will be gifted back to you guys on the podcast. But then they sent 5 of these little packages that have 2 minis each in them. A little lavender sachet and some stitch markers. Let me just show you. So this is a mini of each one. This is Quoth the Raven, and this is Vibrant Iris, and they're just beautiful. Just beautiful. So those will be for giveaways as well, which I'm just, people are so nice. Blows me away. So honestly, I'm gonna leave a link directly down below to their shop. I think that you should go support them, not just because of what they stand for, but because their yarn is priced extremely reasonably. Like, I went online and looked at it, and it is extremely reasonably priced. Comparatively, I don't think I've seen yarn like this around the same price point. So especially if you're in the United Kingdom and the shipping won't be that much, you need to go support them because the yarn is look at this. Those colors are amazing. And if you are in the United States or other places where the shipping might be a little more, I think that it would be better actually to buy from them, because with the shipping cost, it will balance out to what you would pay for a normal something if you ordered from the United States. And I just 100% support what they're doing. The reason it's called Attic Spin Dye is because Andy does all the dyeing in the attic. That's their craft room. And Angela does the knitting and a little bit of crochet as well. And it's a lovely story, and I just want to say a huge congratulations because they had a grandbaby just recently. We were communicating. Hopefully that was okay to say to the interweb. I'm not going to say his name or anything like that, but I'm just so happy for you guys, and thank you so much. That was just lovely to get in the mail, and I am thrilled to be able to use that yarn. The last thing I got in the mail literally exploded my brain. So, a package arrived, fairly big box, and I was like, I didn't order anything. I didn't think anything was coming. What could this possibly be? And then I opened it and lost my mind. It is a package of yarn from Leah of Sheep Happens Yarn, who is a crocheter, a wonderful supporter of this podcast. I designed my Falling Ivy shawl pattern out of her yarn, and also worked up a sample in my Mirage ponytail hat cowl in her yarn as well. And she is a yarn dyer in the United States. She is a super nerd, like I am, about Skyrim. And she's just a wonderful, lovely person. She's one of my favorite dyers of all time. So I did not know that she was sending me this. And when I opened it, I didn't even know what to do. So first of all, there's a little pin, which you might not be able to see very well, but it says College of Winterhold on it, because this is a Skyrim related package. She sent me the most epic birthday present of all time. Of all time. There is the yarn, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get all of this in the frame. Okay. Ooh, here we go. There is 8 skeins of 100% merino sheep happens yarn. Oh God. And I'm dropping them. It is a fade, as you could see, but it is not just any fade. Let me tell you the names of this yarn, and if you are a Skyrim fan, you will immediately be like jumping out of your chair. This one is called Solitude. This one is called Dawn Star. This one is Winterhold. Morthal. Windhelm. Whiterun. Falkreath. And Rifted. If you don't know what any of those words meant, those are the names of towns in Skyrim. Towns. Pretty much every town in Skyrim, except for Markarth, because, as Leah says, and I 100% agree, Markarth is a garbage town. It is impossible to get around. It's very beautiful, but it's a pain in every way. So, here is 5 of them. And here is the other 3. There's 8. Oh God, I'm dropping them. 8 skeins of yarn here, which not only like monetarily and based on her inventory and stock is an enormous gift, but the fact that it's a Skyrim fade, this is probably the best thing I've ever seen in my life. This is going to have to be a fade, like a knitted fade cardigan, which is a little overwhelming because I've never knitted a cardigan before. Not that I'm like, of course I can do it. What I need to do is finish my transitions shawl first, because I've got to get better at purling before I attempt a cardigan with this. It's got to be worthy of this yarn. So I need help. Give me your favorite cardigan pattern recommendations. I'm thinking like the Comfort Fade Cardi, but it has to be for fingering weight yarn. I do not want to do math, and I do not want to do modifications if I can help it. So it needs to be fingering weight yarn, long sleeved, stockinette. I do not want texture. I do not want any, like the Comfort Fade Cardi is reverse stockinette. No, this has to be stockinette fade. And I would like it to have a shawl collar. So if you are a knitter and you know of a pattern like that, please, please, please link to it below. I'm just gonna keep squishing this stuff. It's so soft and it's so amazing, and I literally don't know what to do with myself. Thank you seems insignificant in light of what you have done, Leah. I will link to her yarn directly down below as well. As you know, if you've been watching for any length of time, I highly support her. She is a crocheter. We need more crocheters who dye yarn. She makes amazing, amazing yarn. And she actually has some yarn on sale right now, so you can get a deal. So I just want to say before I sign off, I know that this episode is getting really long, but it's been a month, you guys, a month. That I am blown away, like, not just by the stuff or the yarn that has been sent to me, but by you guys. And honestly, 2019 so far has not been great. I am pretty happy and pretty positive on the podcast. I am also very honest about anxiety and mental health struggles that I deal with, and I know that many of you deal with as well. I don't want to pretend to you like everything's fine. It's not. My health issues at the beginning of the year were quite intense. Don't ask me about them, please. I don't really want to talk about it. But because of that, I was on some medication, which has kind of affected my hormones. And I would say over the last month, there was a 2-week period where it was pretty intense. Like, the reason I have knit so much on socks is because that was literally all I could do for several days in a row, because I just could not do anything else. There's been some situations at work that have kind of been a nightmare recently, and it's just not been a great start to 2019. And I am not saying that so you can be like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's life. Sometimes life sucks. That's fine. It's fine to have emotions. It's fine to be upset. But when I started this podcast, I did so because I wanted to connect with you guys. I just wanted to have a crafting community. I didn't really know anybody other than people who sew, who did crochet and yarn around me, and I just wanted to have some connections. And I I don't think I would have thought even for a second of how much support I would be getting from you guys. And I'm gonna try not to get emotional right now because nobody needs to see me crying on camera. But I just since the beginning of the year, I will tell you, this podcast has brought me so much joy. And even when I haven't been able to make everything that I wanted to make, or had as much time or mental energy to dedicate to making and creating content as I would like to do, you guys have been so supportive, and I don't feel in any way like I deserve to receive what has been sent to me physically, and all of the good thoughts and prayers and positive energy that has been sent to me from everyone else. I want you to know that I value your comments, I value your feedback, and I have, over the last couple of months, felt so supported and so loved, and just kind of carried along by the love that you guys have given me. And it's okay that it hasn't been easy, and I honestly don't know that it's gonna get any easier over the next couple of months, so that's fine too. Sorry. So I just want to say thank you. It has been 2 years since I started podcasting. My podiversary was a couple of weeks ago. I completely missed it. I don't know. I don't feel like what I'm putting out is equal to what I'm getting back. You guys are amazing. So supportive. Brigitta, Andy, Angela, Leah, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much it has meant to me to receive what you sent in the mail to me over the last 3 weeks. It just totally brightened my month, which was difficult to do. And I need to stop. I'm gonna need a tissue, and nobody wants to hear me like the whole time. Okay, you get the point. I appreciate you so much. I am so thankful that you watch and that you come back every 2 weeks. I'm thankful for the love that you put out in the world. It really legitimately has kept me going, and I think it will continue to do so. And I would like to say thank you as well. So there will be a giveaway at the very end of this episode, and it will be for one of these. You will get 2 mini skeins from Andy and Angela at Attic Spin Dye. There will be a Ravelry thread, so go into the Ravelry group and answer the prompt. Gosh, I don't know what the prompt will be. Just click on the link to the Ravelry group down below. It'll be called Episode Giveaway. I will draw a winner by the next prize. So next time I podcast, you will get 2 mini skeins, as well as a little lavender sachet and some stitch markers from them. You will also get a ball of this sock yarn, Drops Delight, in this beautiful blue. I love it. It was also donated by a lovely viewer of this podcast. And then you will get, in honor of the Dodgy Bag Mal that is starting, a Dodgy Bag by me. This is the sock bag to go with the sock yarn. And it is dodgy, I promise you. You can even tell that my drawstring casing is a little wonky. And even my stitching is a little wonky, but it's llamas. Look at it. Llamas. And it's pink on the inside, and it's flannel. So it's really, really fun. So just go to the Ravelry group and answer the prompt, and I will draw a winner for that by the next podcast episode. I know this podcast is getting really long, so I do apologize if I've taken up too much of your time. I hope that you have a wonderful 2 weeks. I'm hoping that I have some sewing projects to show you when I come back in 2 weeks, and I'm really looking forward to Stitchcation, just having a couple of days to get away and just craft and focus and be calm. So until I see you again, thank you, happy crafting, and be kind to yourself, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.